Ladies and gentlemen, there is something sacred about the morning, not because the sun rises, not because the world wakes up, but because it is the one moment in your day when you are in charge. No one has texted yet, no one expects anything from you. The world is quiet, and in that silence you are given a gift, the chance to choose how you want your life to go. Most people waste it. They hit snooze, they scroll, they rush, and then they wonder why the whole day feels out of control. You cannot win your morning unless you win yourself. That is the truth nobody wants to say out loud, because it's easier to blame the alarm clock or the lack of time than to admit that we are the ones in our own way. Winning the morning is not about perfection. It's about permission, giving yourself permission to stop being the person who keeps quitting on their own goals. Most people live in reaction mode. They wait for something outside of them to spark change. But the morning is your moment to prove to you that you are not waiting anymore. You are not waiting for motivation, not waiting for the perfect plan, not waiting for anyone's approval. You wake up, you take one small action, and in that moment, you begin to reclaim your power. That could be standing up when you want to lie down. That could be brushing your teeth and looking yourself in the mirror with some gentleness. That could be choosing water over caffeine just for one day. These are not small wins. These are signs that you're finally listening to yourself. Because when you win yourself, your inner critic, your doubts, your fear of failing again, that is when you win your morning. And winning doesn't mean you're loud or dramatic. It means you're steady. You don't snooze your alarm because you respect your own time. You don't check your phone first thing because you respect your own peace. You don't start with stress because you respect your own heart. That's how it begins, with respect, not routines. We've made the morning this intense competition. Wake up at 5, read 10 books, run 3 miles, journal, do yoga, eat clean, save the world. But winning the morning isn't about ticking off a list. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't abandon themselves first thing in the day. So ask yourself, what version of me do I want to meet every morning? Do you want to meet someone who's already tired and stressed before the day begins? Or someone who's calm, centered, and grounded? That version doesn't show up because of luck. That version is created. Bit by bit, habit by habit, choice by choice, and the first choice is this. Do you want to win yourself? Because your morning will reflect your answer, you can start small, you can start shaky, you can even start late. But just start with you. When you honor yourself in the morning, life begins to honor you back, not through magic, but through clarity, through energy, through confidence. This is not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you've always been. Someone who deserves peace, power, and purpose before the world even wakes up. Small rituals create massive self-respect, not because the act itself is grand, but because your intention behind it is. Every time you do something small that is good for you, without applause, without anyone watching, you are proving to yourself that you matter, not someday, but today. Most people chase confidence in external places. They think they will feel worthy after they achieve something big. But self-respect is not a prize you win. It is a practice you build, and it usually begins with something so simple, so ordinary, that your brain almost wants to skip it. That is why most people stay stuck. They overlook the power of the little things. They underestimate the power of making their bed, brushing their hair, tidying their space, putting their phone away during meals, walking barefoot on the grass, or drinking water first thing in the morning. But when you show up and do these things anyway, especially when you do not feel like it, you begin to rebuild something inside you that life may have broken. That quiet inner trust, that belief that I will show up for me. You stop living in guilt and start living in alignment. You begin to carry yourself differently, not because your circumstances changed, but because you did. You started acting like someone who deserves care, not from others, but from yourself. The real magic of rituals is not in their complexity. It is in their consistency, and more than anything else, it is in their quietness. These are not loud acts. No one will cheer when you drink water or make your bed. No one will post a video when you sit quietly with your breath before checking your phone. But these moments, these tiny, deliberate choices start to build something sacred. They build identity. They say, "This is who I am now, this is what I choose now." And you begin to feel safe with yourself again. That feeling, being safe with your own habits, your own silence, your own presence, is what creates deep self-respect. It is not about being perfect or productive. It is about being present and intentional. If every morning you wake up and do one thing that you know will make your mind, body, or space feel lighter, you will begin to feel proud of yourself in ways no achievement ever gave you. You will start walking into your day with a different energy, not seeking validation, not chasing approval, but simply knowing you are grounded in your own rhythm. And the beautiful thing is, it is all in your hands. You do not need fancy tools, expensive routines, or expert plans. You need willingness. You need to choose you before you start serving the world. One cup of tea made with peace, one journal entry written with honesty, one deep breath before your feet hit the floor. That is where it begins. That is where self-respect grows. Most people wait until they have a breakdown before they start small habits. They think something massive has to go wrong before they are allowed to take care of themselves. But the truth is, you do not need a crisis to start. You need a decision that from this moment forward, you will honor the small things. You will stop rolling your eyes at the rituals that look too easy, too slow, too soft. Because maybe that softness is exactly what you need. Maybe that slowness is the thing that helps you remember how strong you really are. And maybe, just maybe, when you start respecting the little things, you'll finally see the big things take care of themselves. The first hour of your day shapes your mindset more than anything else. It sets the tone. It creates the filter through which you will see everything that happens next. If you begin with chaos, the rest of your day will feel like you are trying to catch up. But if you begin with clarity, even the hard parts of your day feel easier to manage. Most people do not realize that the way they start their morning is not just a routine. It is a message to the brain. It tells your mind what matters. It tells your heart what pace to beat. It tells your energy where to go. And if the first thing you feed your brain is stress, comparison, or noise, your entire system will respond to that signal. You will start feeling behind before the day has even begun. That is why the first hour matters, not because of what you get done in it, but because of how you do it. Your mindset is a fragile thing early in the morning. It is soft clay still shaping itself. You can choose to mold it with peace, or you can let the world shape it with pressure. Every notification you check, every headline you scroll, every email you open before centering yourself, it pulls you into a mental storm. You start reacting instead of choosing. You lose your calm before you even get a chance to use it. And when your mindset begins in reaction mode, everything that happens later in the day feels more personal, more heavy, more urgent than it really is. But when you protect that first hour, even if it is just 20 minutes of quiet, of movement, of thought, you start building something stronger. You give your brain space to wake up gently. You give your soul a moment to feel grateful before the demands begin. You give your body a chance to breathe before it has to rush. And the version of you that walks into the world after that is very different from the one who woke up in panic and grabbed the phone. Mindset is not a switch you flip. It is something you build with small, consistent choices. And one of the most powerful choices is how you treat your morning. You do not need to meditate for an hour or write a perfect journal. You just need to stop letting the outside world be the first thing that touches your brain. Because the first thing you consume becomes the lens through which you see everything else. If it is negative, you'll look for negativity. If it is chaotic, you'll feel unprepared. But if it is calm, grounded, and intentional, you'll move through your day with a quiet strength that no one can take away. Think of your mind like a sponge. Whatever you dip it into first, that is what it soaks up. So if you dip it into fear, gossip, stress, or distraction, do not be surprised when you feel drained by 10 a.m. But if you dip it into gratitude, stillness, breath, or movement, you give yourself something no one else can give you, an internal anchor. A steady place to return to when the day gets loud, and it will get loud. Life is not going to stop being unpredictable. People will still disappoint you. Problems will still arise, but your response will be different. You will not spiral as easily. You will not lose yourself so quickly. You will have something deeper holding you steady, simply because you took 1 hour to prepare your mindset before the world asked you to give it away. The first hour is your training ground. It is where you rehearse the kind of person you want to be. Calm, clear, strong, grounded, not perfect, just present, and that presence is what gives you power. The power to respond instead of react, the power to pause before panicking, the power to lead your day instead of being led by it. Avoiding distractions in the morning is an act of self-love. It is not about discipline for the sake of looking productive. It is about choosing peace when the world keeps trying to sell you chaos. The moment you wake up, distractions begin fighting for your attention. Your phone buzzes, notifications pile up, social media begs you to scroll, emails wait like little traps ready to shape your mood before you have even formed your own thoughts. And most people walk straight into it. They open their eyes and hand over their attention to everything and everyone but themselves. Then they wonder why they feel anxious, rushed, and emotionally drained by noon. But when you begin your day with a decision to protect your focus, even for a few minutes, you are sending a message to yourself that you are not just here to consume noise. You are here to create peace. You are here to choose your direction before the world gives you one. That choice, especially in the morning, is powerful, because in those first moments after waking, your brain is in a state where it absorbs information quickly. It is impressionable, it is open. That means whatever you feed it will echo throughout your day. If you begin your day in someone else's life, someone else's feed, someone else's drama, someone else's urgency, you lose the chance to meet yourself. You miss the opportunity to connect with your own thoughts, your own values, your own goals. Distraction is not just a time waster. It is an identity thief. It pulls you out of your own lane and drops you into everyone else's. You start comparing, reacting, worrying, and all of it happens before you even sit up straight. Avoiding distractions is an act of self-love because it allows you to be with yourself before you face the world. You create space for intention. You breathe, you listen, you take a moment to ask, what do I need today? Instead of what do they expect from me today? That shift changes everything. It softens your anxiety. It clears your mind. It slows your heart rate. It reminds you that you are allowed to move through the day with presence instead of panic. And you do not need to be extreme. You do not need to throw your phone away or become a monk. You just need to create a boundary. A sacred window of time where you say no to everything that wants to interrupt your peace. That could be 5 minutes. That could be 20. What matters is the choice to check in with yourself before checking in with the rest of the world. The choice to hear your own voice before listening to the noise of the internet. The choice to let your eyes meet sunlight or prayer or stillness before they meet a screen. This is not about control. It is about care. It is about being gentle with your nervous system. It is about creating a rhythm where you are not constantly pulled in every direction. The truth is, the more distracted you are, the less connected you feel, not just to others, but to yourself. And that disconnection is what leaves people feeling empty even after hours of scrolling. So when you decide to delay distractions, you are not missing out. You are tuning in, you are saying, I will not let urgency rob me of clarity. I will not let noise become my normal. That kind of decision makes you stronger. It makes you more creative, more aware, more emotionally grounded. You start noticing your own patterns. You begin your day not with stress, but with structure. You learn to enjoy your own company, to trust your own thoughts, to lead your own pace. And that kind of peace is rare. That kind of focus becomes your edge. Movement, breath, and silence are more powerful than motivation, because motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes, often based on mood or circumstances. But movement is steady, breath is always with you, and silence is where clarity is born. Most people chase motivation like it is the magic switch to change their lives, but they forget that the body and mind respond more deeply to consistent action than to sudden hype. The truth is, some mornings you will not feel like doing anything. You will wake up tired, overwhelmed, or disconnected. And on those days, if you rely only on motivation, you will do nothing. But if you have built a habit of simply moving, breathing, and sitting in silence, your body will carry you through even when your mind tries to quit. Movement does not need to be intense, it just needs to be honest, a walk, a stretch, a few slow yoga poses. Even standing up and rolling your shoulders, these small signals wake up your nervous system and remind your brain that you are alive, present, and capable. Movement is a language your body understands even when words do not work. And once you begin, energy follows. You do not wait for energy to move. You move so that energy arrives. The same is true for breath. When you take deep, conscious breaths in the morning, you are doing more than oxygenating your body. You are calming your thoughts. You are interrupting the cycle of stress before it builds. You are giving your mind space to reset, to pause, to remember that not every thought deserves your full attention. And then there is silence. Most people are afraid of it. They rush to fill the quiet with noise, as if stillness means something is wrong. But silence is sacred. In silence, you hear what actually matters. You stop reacting and start reflecting. You remember your values. You see what you have been ignoring. The world will always try to distract you. But silence reminds you that your peace is an inside job. You do not need perfect circumstances to be calm. You just need to sit with yourself and breathe through the discomfort until clarity returns. Combining these three, movement, breath, and silence, is not a complicated ritual. It is a return to basics. It is a reminder that you are not helpless, even on your worst days. You may not be able to control the day ahead, but you can control how you begin it. You can choose to move your body, even slightly. You can choose to take a breath before you speak or react. You can choose to sit with yourself for a few minutes before opening your phone or turning on the noise. These are not signs of laziness. They are signs of power, quiet power, the kind that does not need to be shouted, the kind that builds strength from the inside out. Motivation might inspire you once in a while, but these practices, they sustain you. They become your foundation. They do not depend on mood. They are available to you every morning, no matter how the rest of your life looks. They do not ask you to be perfect. They ask you to be present. And when you start your day with presence instead of pressure, everything changes. Your reactions slow down, your decisions get clearer, your confidence returns. You stop needing constant external input to feel okay. You start realizing that everything you need to begin again already exists inside you. The world celebrates noise and speed, but healing often happens in the quiet. And when you choose to honor that stillness each morning, you begin to rebuild your life from a deeper place. Not one shaped by trends or comparison, but one rooted in your own rhythm, a rhythm that holds you steady no matter what the day brings. You do not need a perfect morning, you need a present one. Most people believe that change will only come once they have designed the perfect routine. Once everything is neat and scheduled and Instagram worthy, they delay taking care of themselves because they cannot do it perfectly. They tell themselves that if they cannot wake up at 5, journal for 30 minutes, run 5 miles, drink smoothies, and read 10 pages, then it is not worth trying at all. And that mindset is what keeps them stuck, waiting, postponing their peace, convincing themselves they will show up once life is less messy. But presence is never about perfection. It is about noticing. It is about paying attention to what is here, right now, and choosing to meet it with awareness instead of judgment. A present morning is not about ticking off a checklist. It is about asking yourself how you feel and responding with kindness. It could be 5 minutes of sitting in stillness, staring out the window. It could be one deep breath taken with intention. It could be making tea slowly, without rushing, without looking at a screen. These small moments, when lived fully, are more transformative than the most elaborate routines done without awareness. Perfection is rigid, presence is soft. Perfection demands performance, presence allows acceptance. When you aim for a perfect morning, you often create pressure. You wake up already feeling like you are behind. You measure your worth based on how many steps you completed. And if you miss one thing, you call the whole day ruined. But when you allow yourself to be present, you create space for honesty. You are not trying to perform wellness, you are trying to feel alive. And that shift changes how you experience your entire day. Some mornings will be chaotic. You will oversleep. You will wake up tired or late or interrupted by 100 things. But presence allows you to pause in the middle of that and still find peace. Maybe you only get a single minute to sit in silence before rushing out the door, but that 1 minute, if lived with attention, can calm your entire nervous system. Maybe you cannot journal, but you can think one grateful thought as you brush your teeth. Maybe you cannot go for a walk, but you can breathe deeply while standing in the kitchen. The details matter less than the connection. You are not here to copy someone else's perfect start. You are here to meet yourself exactly as you are and respond with care, and there is power in that. Because a present morning teaches you to be more present in your life. If you can stop judging your morning, you will stop judging yourself so harshly throughout the day. If you can practice grace at sunrise, you will carry it into your work, your relationships, your choices. You will stop needing everything to go right in order to feel good. You will stop depending on the world to give you permission to be calm. You will create your own calm from within. Presence also builds trust. It tells your body and your mind, I am here, I am listening, I am not abandoning you for another to-do list. That kind of trust takes time, but it begins in the morning. When you give yourself even a little attention, you begin to feel more grounded. More steady, less like you are chasing the day, and more like you are meeting it with intention. You do not need to be the most productive, most focused, most motivated version of yourself every morning. You just need to be with yourself, fully, kindly, without rushing to be someone else. And when you practice presence instead of performance, your mornings stop being a task to complete and become a moment to live. A moment that grounds you, softens you, and slowly begins to change how you show up for the rest of your life. Consistency in your mornings rebuilds trust in yourself, not because it looks impressive to others, but because it sends a steady signal to your own heart that you are someone who shows up. Not once in a while, not only when it feels easy, but every day with gentleness and effort. Most people struggle with self-doubt, not because they are incapable, but because they have broken their own promises too many times. They have told themselves, I will start tomorrow, and then didn't. They've made plans, skipped them, felt guilty, and repeated the cycle so often that they no longer believe their own words. But every consistent morning, even if it is just 5 minutes of presence, starts to rewrite that story. It replaces guilt with grace. It replaces doubt with quiet confidence. Trust is not built through big declarations. It is built through repeated follow-through. When you say you will do something and then you do it, even if it is small, your mind starts to relax. It stops waiting for the letdown. It stops looking for the excuse. It begins to believe, maybe this time is different. And slowly, one small morning ritual at a time, you start to feel more solid in your own life, more grounded. Less chaotic. You do not need to overhaul everything. You just need to begin and then begin again. And again, consistency is not about being rigid. It is not about never missing a day. It is about having an anchor to return to. It is about building a rhythm that brings you back to yourself when everything else feels messy. Life will always interrupt your plans. There will be days when things fall apart, when nothing goes as expected. But if you have a consistent morning habit, you have something to hold on to. A small reminder that you are not powerless. A tiny place where you still get to choose. And the beauty is, your morning routine does not need to look a certain way. What matters is that you decide it, you repeat it, and you show up for it. It could be a short walk, a journal page, a few deep breaths, reading a paragraph from a book, watering your plants, making your tea with care. The action itself is not what builds trust, the commitment to it is. You are telling yourself, no matter how noisy the world is, I will keep one promise to myself. And that one promise begins to ripple. You start feeling more capable, not just in the morning, but throughout your day. You make better decisions, you hold better boundaries, you stop abandoning your needs to meet everyone else's. Because you know in your bones that you are someone who shows up, not because life is perfect, but because you have decided to be consistent with what you can control. So many people are chasing discipline through punishment. They think if they just push harder, they will become the person they want to be. But real discipline is built on self-respect, on kindness, on showing up even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching. And mornings are the best place to start because they are the quietest part of your day. They are yours. And how you treat them tells you how you feel about yourself. When you become consistent with your mornings, you stop waiting for external motivation. You stop needing someone else to remind you of your goals. You begin to feel proud quietly. You begin to walk taller even if no one notices. And most importantly, you begin to trust yourself again, not because everything is perfect, but because you are choosing to show up one honest, ordinary morning at a time. If you learn to rise with discipline, you stop falling into chaos. Most people wait for life to slow down so they can find peace, but life rarely slows down. It throws interruptions, unexpected problems, delays, and decisions at you every day. And if you do not have an inner structure, a personal rhythm that holds you steady, then every small disruption feels like a disaster. You start your day late, and suddenly everything feels behind. One negative comment online ruins your whole morning. One task goes wrong, and your mindset crumbles. That is the cost of starting your day without discipline. You become vulnerable to everything outside of you. But when you rise with discipline, you create a quiet kind of power, not the kind that is loud or aggressive, but the kind that gives you control over your own energy. You do not need the day to be perfect because you already decided how you will show up. You do not need other people to behave a certain way because you have already grounded yourself in intention. Discipline is not punishment, it is protection. It is choosing to do what strengthens you, even when it is easier not to. Discipline in the morning is not about perfection or pressure. It is about clarity. It is about waking up and choosing your focus instead of letting the world hand you distractions. It is brushing your teeth, making your bed, preparing your mind, not because you are trying to prove anything, but because you are practicing ownership. And ownership is what keeps you from spiraling. You know who you are, you know what matters, and you return to those things again and again, no matter how loud or messy the outside world becomes. Rising with discipline is a choice you make before anyone asks anything from you. It is a commitment you keep even when you do not feel like it. And slowly it becomes part of you. You wake up and make your tea without thinking. You journal for 5 minutes even when your brain is noisy. You stretch or breathe or sit in silence not because you are in the mood, but because this is who you are now. You are someone who chooses calm over chaos, intention over impulse, presence over panic, and over time, that discipline creates freedom. You stop reacting to everything. You stop feeling like your emotions control you. You begin to respond instead of collapse. Even when hard things come, you do not fall as easily because you have built a solid foundation. One that begins at sunrise, when no one is watching, when no one is expecting anything, when the world is still quiet and you get to decide who you are before the noise begins. There will be days when discipline feels hard, when your body is tired and your mind is scattered, and that is okay. Discipline is not about never missing a day. It is about returning to yourself without shame, starting again without drama. Choosing your path again and again until it becomes natural, until it becomes peace. Most people live in cycles of chaos, thinking they are just unlucky or too busy or too emotional. But the truth is, without morning discipline, the world will shape you into someone reactive, overwhelmed, easily shaken. With morning discipline, you shape yourself into someone steady. You become the calm in the storm. You become the one who walks into the day with a deep, unshakable sense of purpose. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. You built strength not in moments of glory, but in the quiet decision to rise with discipline every single day.